Some say he was a feared man, others the devil, and others a great leader. The fact is that Napoleon was a great military strategist with the character of a giant, but it was always believed that the man was short. A lie that even led to what came to be known as Napoleon complex, normally used as a derogatory term. It is an inferiority complex normally attributed to people of short stature, but historical records of his autopsy revealed that the man was actually 5 foot 7 inches tall. Not tall, but definitely not short. History books always portrayed him as being short, but they were wrong, an erroneous statistic that was passed down for generations as fact. It's a myth that for decades was told to children by grown-ups that drinking coffee would impair their growth. The idea behind it is that caffeine limits the body's ability to absorb calcium, which is important for the growth of younger children in particular. But the overall idea that caffeine is going to significantly stunt growth is total bullshit. The impact of caffeine on calcium intake is so small that 1 tablespoon of milk would adequately offset the effect of a cup of coffee for younger children. This whole theory, too, has advertising to thank. C.W. Post, the 1800s era breakfast cereal pioneer, came up with a campaign when he invented Postum, a cereal he tried to market as a caffeine-free coffee alternative, according to the Smithsonian Magazine. The campaign persisted for decades after Post's death, even as coffee remains more popular than ever, and Postum is still in production. Sharks are known for having an acute sense of smell, but their superpowers are not as exaggerated as initially believed. Although they have better olfactory system than many other creatures, they can detect a single drop of blood that's miles away. These predators can pick up on small amounts of different chemicals in the water, but there are other factors that should be taken into consideration, like the substance and the speed of the water current. According to the American Museum of Natural History, some shark species can detect 1 drop in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, while others can sense chemicals up to a few hundred meters away. Teachers would always try and make their bad students feel better by telling them that Einstein was also a terrible student, even failing at math and physics. But records indicate the contrary. The man was a genius from the start, the best in the classroom. This was a false representation from reading his existing grades. At the time of his upbringing, grades in Germany were scored as 1 being the highest grade and 10 being the lowest. This led to a misunderstanding in the Western world. To this day, many believe that Vincent van Gogh cut off his own ear in a fit of rage, but this isn't true. The artist had a bad temper which brought him enemies. The worst was his rivalry with painter Paul Gauguin. Things got to the point where both men fought with swords. Although no one died, Van Gogh did lose an ear. So how did the whole myth get started? Simple. Both men promised to never again speak of the incident or even refer to one another. They both kept their promise, but it did lead to a historical misunderstanding. Eating carrots makes your eyesight better. The exact origin of this myth isn't clear, but it is believed that it became a widespread idea during World War II, when the British issued citywide blackouts in their attempt to defeat the German air forces. One UK soldier, John Cunningham, successfully shot down planes. From there, the country started spreading posters and other propaganda that credited carrots as the reason for his exceptional night vision. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. Edison was a great scientist, even though his practices were morally questionable. such as instances in which he stole Tesla's ideas. But perhaps a lesser known, but just as atrocious, is the story behind the light bulb, a great injustice. Mr. Henrik Gebel invented the original light bulb. He tried selling the patent to Edison, but Edison had no interest in buying it. That was at the time. Edison waited until Gebel passed away. He then approached his widowed wife, whom at the time was going through an extreme economical hardship. So, given that the inventor was dead, Edison went on to buy the patent for breadcrumbs. It is true that he perfected the design, but the man was not the original inventor. There is a saying that goes, we only use 10% of our brain. If we were to use 100%, we would be geniuses. For centuries, it was believed that the world's most renowned minds were able to unlock more parts of their brain, something which allowed them to achieve their accomplishments. But this could not be further from the truth. We, at all times, use all of our brain. Each and every part is responsible for different actions in our body: movement, coordination, smell, sight, taste, and problem solving, amongst others. Shaving and cutting your hair does not stimulate hair growth. A reason for this belief resides with the naturally finer ends of uncut hair. Compare the end of a long-lived hair with that of a hair recently cut or shaved, and you'll see that one is thicker than the other. That could lead the less than careful to conclude that the whole of the hair shaft becomes thicker as a result of the hairs being cut, which it didn't, rather than to realize that shaving or cutting results in a blunt termination, whereas natural outgrowth concludes in a tapering. The best way to end this countdown is with Christopher Columbus. Our teachers always taught us that the man had discovered America. The truth is that he was not the first. Nordic explorer Leif Erikson was the first known European explorer to have set foot in continental America. He came here centuries before 1942, the date in which Columbus appeared with his 3 ships, La Pinta, La Niña, and the Santa Maria. It is also believed, based on cartographic evidence, that Portuguese explorers came here in the year 1424, nearly 70 years prior to the Italian man